Hi, everybody. Welcome to From the Heart. I'm Liz Walker. I don't know anybody who's not ready to walk away from 2025. It was an intense year, but there are some memories we'd like to keep. All this week, we are revisiting some of the most healing conversations we've had in 2025. We circle back today to an inspirational talk with Becca Stevens. Becca is a social entrepreneur, she's an Episcopal priest, she's a human rights advocate, and she is the founder and director of an incredibly healing community called Thistle Farms. Take a look.
This is Thistle Farms. It's one of the biggest bath and beauty shops in Nashville, and it's run by women survivors of prostitution, sex trafficking, and addiction.
Love you, baby. The women that are coming into Thistle Farms are suffering from some of the oldest scars humanity has ever dealt people. And the models that were out there were not working. Look at this. The barbed wire is pretty intense.
This is Becca Stevens, and she believes that the secret to long-term recovery is empowering women to believe in themselves.
It doesn't make sense to me to invite women who have been on the street since they were 15 years old into a 3-month program and think everything is going to be fine by the end of that.
Before I came here, I didn't know how to love myself. So finally getting here, something clicked.
This unconventional recovery center is changing the Nashville community. If it works, it will change the way we tackle trauma and addiction.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has a right to be here. It's just welcome.
Well, I can't tell you. I've had the opportunity to visit Thistle Farms in Nashville and meet some of the women who are just living miraculous lives. And I am so thrilled to welcome Becca Stevens, the founder of Thistle Farms, on From the Heart today. Thanks for being here, Becca.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun that you're such a legend in hosting and in broadcasting. It just feels different than like the normal podcasts I do where I could totally trust what you're going to do and how you're going to lead us.
Well, I am such a fan that you don't have to worry about anything. All that other stuff, okay, but I'm a fan. You are a Renaissance woman. You are a social entrepreneur, a woman's advocate, an Episcopal priest, and an author, and on and on and on. But all of this work, and this is what I love about you, all of your work flows together. So let's start with Thistle Farms. How did you get in that kind of work?
Well, I got into that kind of work after I got ordained, but I had it in my mind forever that I wanted to open a place that was very welcoming for women on the streets and women who were coming out of incarceration. So in 1997, we opened the first house in Nashville, and it was just housing. It was a housing first model, free 2 years, no authority in the house. But after doing that for several years, the women were doing incredible work. It was beautiful, but they were still dirt poor. And that's why I thought, well, we should just start a bath and body care company and then do training and build a business with women survivors so they can take their rightful place as healers. And from there, it just exploded into sister communities around the country and 46 global partners around the world to end up being the largest enterprise of its kind.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. And I love the idea, Becca, that you do bath and body products, because once you told me, or you told a group of us about the intimacy of women reclaiming their bodies in a way through this product. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, you're a great pastor, you know all this, but every story of healing, there's an element of intimacy and messiness to it. It's not like it's just sterile. It's just like you think of it like in a hospital setting, that this idea of what healing is in community is intimate and messy. And there's nothing like oils and body bombs and all of that to remind us of that. And the women are carrying scars that you can't see, but they are body scars. They are deep body scars. Because, I think, most of the women almost 100% of the women I've worked with have trauma. About, um, the average age is preteen almost.
Mm,
So it's very body.
But then to work with the body and anyway, it's just it's an idea that I had never thought of before. But when I put oils on, I see myself differently. I
Well,
respect differently. Don't
yes. Yeah. And I was just going to say this one other thing is that so many times that the church or whoever it is, it's like people come and they're missionaries or they're doing the laying on of hands or they're healing people. What I love about this is the women are making it and distributing it for everybody. Like we're taking control and we're naming healing for our own bodies and then offering it to others. That's all. I just,
you?
because I love what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying what you do, so this is going to be that kind of that kind of interview. Love Heals is your, I'm going to call it your theology. It's your marketing brand. It's everything. How does love heal in the context of these women? Because that one woman said that in the video that she learned to love herself. How does that work? Is that a class they take, or is that just the way they're treated, or what happens?
Yeah, I think it's probably more organic than a class you can take how love works in our lives for me and for everybody I work with, but it's this idea that love, I mean that community is the oldest entity we know for healing. And if we come together in community, love as our mission, love as our grounding force, works miracles. And sometimes that healing is, 20, 30 years. I've been out this enough. I now can tell stories about a woman who came in from being trafficked as a child to now she's welcoming a healthy, beautiful grandbaby. Not
Mm,
a baby, but a grandbaby. Like that's crazy to me. We've been around this block a lot, and we know sometimes the healing work of the heart is so slow, and mental health so slow, and addiction so slow, and broken relationships so slow to heal. So for me, the way that I've seen the most effective way that love works is through our commitment to stay with it.
right.
That, you know, it's not going to happen. Like people are going to come in and then there's going to be this prayer and then it's all over. And then it's these beautiful, miraculous, slow steps towards wholeness. And when I say healing, I mean an intentional walk towards wholeness. That's what I mean by that. That you and I
Mm,
take this intentional walk to wholeness, that our journeys began with God, they end with God, and this walk towards this reconciling ourselves to who we were born to be is a long journey. The other
indeed.
thing I think the way it works is that, and what I think too many people shy away from it, that there is also a very practical element to love. Love is so much more about doggedness than any dogma. And it's about like making sure people are well so that, it's that the most vulnerable people don't end up in the most desolate places, that people have choice and agency and freedom. And that means that when I say I love you, I have to be concerned about your economic well being.
Right.
So, one of the main things is there is this beautiful long term commitment, but there's also a real practicality. Like, what does love say today about how we take care of one another in not so much inspired ways, but in ways that will ground us so we can do our heroic work. Each of us is the hero of our own story. So how do I love you so you can be that hero, and how do you love me so I can be that hero?
Wow. Wow. You do this work all around the world, though. What's the thread? Are you working with women in other countries who are prostitutes who come out of those kind of harsh backgrounds, or does it depend on where you're working, the trauma that women are surviving?
So all of it, again, it seems like it's a lot, but when you spread it over 30 years, it's not that big a deal. Like it's just a little bit at a time, and so it's grown. And I have heard stories of trauma and healing in 20 different languages over years and years. And you and I heard some of the same stories when we were in Uganda, and it was the first time I'd really heard about the lost girls. I mean, we in this country hear about the lost boys forever. And then it's like, oh my God, where did the lost girls go? And we met them.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's kind of how it really happens, is you go somewhere and you begin to hear the story and it changes you. And then it's just about how do we respond in love. And so our first partnership was a group of women in Rwanda who, you know, dehumanizing poverty after the genocide, where, absolutely homeless, but without food and without means and without anything, and so much sexual violence you can't imagine, and like bent over, broken bodies from it. And that was our first partnership with Dr. Nicholas Hidimana, who is a Rwandan PhD in basically creating healing oils. So he was a great teacher, mentor to start some of our blends. And we're going in November to celebrate 20 years with them. Other groups, it's been about refugees, because human trafficking and refugees are completely linked up, because you become so vulnerable when you lose your country and you lose your means of income. That's a trafficker's dream of labor trafficking, human trafficking, whatever. So we've started like in Kiev, in Ukraine, in Bethlehem, in Palestine, in Lesbos, Greece, with Syrian women. We've started partnerships in all those places.
Wow.
So it could be prostitution. It could be like in Botswana, we're opening the first with Pearl and Kumbe, the first safe house for women in the whole country. It's a beautiful country that is so patriarchal, and the gender-based violence has never been addressed, and the results of that lead people to incarceration are on the streets. So it's really, in that context, we talk about gender-based violence. So it depends on where you are and who the leaders are that are leading it, that we're supporting, like kind of how you target your audience.
From my vantage point, and this is just from reading and looking, it seems to me the war against women, and I'm not pointing to any one thing, but it seems there is a war against women, and it's escalating. Women around the world, women in this country. Do you believe that, or do you think it's the same old, same old?
I don't know if it's, I think it can be both. I think it can be the same old, and it's escalating because you and I are now aware.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it changes costumes, so it looks different. It might have looked really different in feudal times, versus the internet. Like, even like there was no word called trafficking when I started out working for Thistle Farm. When we started Thistle Farms, people would say, like, she's a 14-year-old crack whore. That was the language. 14 on the streets. And it was like, what are you talking about?
Right,
What in
right.
God's name are you talking about? And that language changes. It doesn't mean that the violence has changed. It used to be you could go down to a strip, like we knew to go down Murfreesboro Pike in Nashville, Tennessee, and Dickerson Road. But then there was Backpage. Now Backpage is gone, and now there's a whole way that people are, abusing and downloading women all across the internet. It's insidious in um, every iteration of it. But I do think you're right that it feels like, to me, people are maybe politically given permission to be just mean to women. I don't understand it myself.
I don't either. And I know that things, to your point, things change. I remember as a reporter back in Denver, Colorado, 1977, 78, we couldn't cover domestic violence in homes because it was considered a private situation. And we went to a murder once, and the police told us, you can't, this is private. So
Oh my God.
that's only changed in the last 30 years or whatever, 40 years or wherever we're now. So I guess that some things seem to me to be worse, but to your point, it's both and. It's worse
Yeah.
and same old. It's just kind of changing the way it's addressed because we're still dealing with domestic violence, just like we always have. This all kind of grew out of your own life, or did it? Tell me how your personal life kind of fuels what you do.
Yeah, I will. And I think, for anybody listening or however this gets posted, that I'm just sharing this as one of many, many stories. And it's not, um, it doesn't begin to compare to some of the stories that I've heard over the years in any way, except that it gives me a heart for this work. That's all I can say. So, and I honor everybody's story and how everybody manages through it. So this is just mine. This is not prescriptive for how other people should react or feel. I want to say that up front because sometimes I think, um, I'm not saying that this is how the result of how everybody should do it, but for me, my dad was killed by a drunk driver when I was 5 years old. We had just moved to the South. We were from Connecticut, New York. My mom was just turning 35 years old with 5 children. And my dad came down here to start an Episcopal church. And he got killed by a drunk driver. So left my mom just 35 in the South with all these kids. And then what happens to so many kids is that when you have a trauma, when you have experienced just upheaval in all parts of your life, that's when predators feel comfortable stepping in and, what they looks like help for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly, like, I am so stereotypical, Liz, in some ways. It's unbelievable. Like, this man who was one of the elders in the church came in to help the family and started sexually abusing me. And the first place that I remember it happening was the fellowship hall of the church. Like, I remember it from 6 years old. That's 55 years ago, and I remember it. That stuff stays with you forever. That's why I'm saying, healing is a long journey. It's a
Yeah.
long plane ride. Um, you know, and then it went on for a few years, and that wasn't my only person. I think I was so eager to have father figure. I was so eager to please people. I was so eager to excel that I think it didn't go great for me. But then there was also all this community that really saved me. It was like the youth group was my home, my safe place. It was the women's group at the church who got me scholarships to go to school. It's all this beautiful stuff and hard stuff that go together. And that's why I knew that what I really wanted to create was a place that was a sanctuary, that was safe and beautiful for women who had gone through some of that stuff, that didn't have a house mother and pressure to do it in anybody else's timeline or anybody else's way, but just just tell us what you need for healing. You will be directing it, and we will be the support roles, because that's what I needed. I needed freedom to figure out what I needed.
And you did. And you paid it forward in such a bold and wonderful, wonderful way. I watch you, and you're just a bad AS. I don't think I can say that because I'm a preacher, but you're a bad A. I think people will know what I'm talking about.
It's in the scriptures.
Is that really? Oh, it is. It really is. Well,
What's his name that had an ass?
Yeah, and the one that the donkey started talking, that one
Yeah.
in the Old Testament. Yeah, I never figured that story out, but you're right. you are that one as well. You are a warrior woman. I have seen
Thank
you. Quick story: we were in Uganda, and the president of Uganda, who is pretty much somebody you don't want to make mad, had us all taking these group picture. Do you remember this? And so all these dignitaries and our crew, the Champions of Love, which is this wonderful cohort where I met Becca. We're all taking this picture. It's all very straightforward. You can't move. Becca then takes over the whole picture taking session because she wants a shot of us saying something to Thistle Farms. So, do you
Love
remember
heals.
that?
I made y'all say love heals, and the president said it.
And you made everybody say love heals. And I just thought that just took some guts to get up in the middle of this very whatever moment and take over. I want to be like you when I grow up. That's all I got to say.
Well, the thing is like sometimes you think, when am I going to ever be in the presence of the Ugandan president and this amazing group of dignitaries and champions of love ever again? So go for it.
And you did. And you did. And Champions of Love is an amazing organization with some real heavyweights in the field of love. That's what I like about it. So being with you on that and being able to travel around the world, I guess, all over the country and meet people and do things. I saw an interview that you did with a young woman on, I saw it on YouTube, and you talked about the power of ritual in our lives. Do you remember that? You talked about your own rituals and how we all need rituals. And that really stuck with me because I think, especially during times like we're in now, where there's a lot of uncertainty and fear, tell us why you talk about rituals like that, because your products all kind of lead to rituals, your bath
Right.
products.
I feel like a ritual is a habit that you form with the intention of having it be, there's an intention to the habit. So, in other words, I'm not just in the habit of drinking tea, I ritualize it. And when I ritualize it, it becomes like, okay, this is going to be, as I stir it, I'm going to think of what I want for my day. As I ritualize it, I'm going to think about what it is that I want to heal in my body when I drink this warm liquid. You know what I'm saying? That there's an intention to a habit to me. Feels like it helps it become a ritual. So I think for me, if I can get up in the morning, take a bath with oils, and come up with what the intention is for the day, that I'm in a much better place to greet people and meet the day. And rituals are memory. They remind us too. And so not only is it about intention, it's about memory. And so at Thistle Farms, we create the ritual. And I know you guys have a different ritual for how you tell the stories in your work, but for us, it's a circle. And we light a candle, and the ritual is to light the candle, which we've made forever. And we say, we light this candle for the woman on the street and the woman trying to find her way home.
I love it.
That simple ritual reminds us why we're all there and what the point is, and that our intention is that the very next woman that walks in off the streets is the most honored guest among us. And if we can remember that, we're all going to be better together. The last thing I think ritual does in this habit is not just intention, not just memory, but it is a place of deep wealth, deep meaning, deep gratitude. It takes us deeper. So there's a deepening to whatever it is we're doing. So it gives it more, again, more depth, more meaning, more wealth. So like if I just threw some oil on me, then it's just, I'm throwing oil on me. But if I know that, this is the oil from Rwanda blended by the women of Thistle Farms that I'm anointing, I just use that word, perfuming myself with. And when I do it, I'm going to take deep breaths, and I'm going to think about the women incarcerated, or I'm going to think about, what it is I'm going to do for Liz Walker today. Then it feels deeper, it feels richer, it feels more meaningful. So that's what I think about ritual. You must do tons of rituals.
I do rituals. I have a ritual in the morning, and I thought about you this morning. We're having problems with your audio. I hope she can come back. And Micah, I don't see her anymore, so I'm not sure. But the ritual that I choose is the ritual of worship and listening to music and singing and prayer and chanting. So I do a whole worship service in the morning to kind of set my day right. And I call it a ritual of resistance. I highly recommend, if you don't have a ritual, that you find one. We have some callers, I hope, who are going to share with us their rituals. I've asked a few people to call in. If you have a ritual that you practice that kind of helps you through, as we try to get Becca back, we're going to try to get her back. What kind of rituals do you practice that help guide you through these crazy times? I think we have a caller now, right? Micah, can we have our first caller?
I believe I'm on.
You are on.
Oh, great. This is really, really phenomenal work that both of you are doing. And I'm just thrilled to be listening. But I've had some rituals and they change over time, but during the time, and I started this since being a cancer survivor and then later on being a caregiver for my mom, that there are things that you do to just kind of calm yourself down. And I live in a rural area, so my top of my list is just gardening. And it's
Mm,
very peaceful to just go out and cut the dead parts off of my roses and off of my flowers. It brings me, it's like mindfulness. It takes you from wherever you are into one particular place. And
beautiful.
another of my favorite ones is singing bowls, just listening to
Mm,
the vibrations.
I love that. So you bought bowls and you just,
I actually I'll get on the internet and they are out there for you. You can get 5 minutes worth, 30 seconds worth, 6 hours worth of nothing but bowl music and
okay.
just listen at it on your phone or you can on your computer. And it's just very, and my daughter actually does the ritual herself, which is where I learned it. But when she's not around, which is, she's a counselor, then I can just dial in or dial up a channel and listen to it and just sit. And it's very peaceful, very peaceful.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, you've helped me because I didn't know about the bowls, but I love that sound. So caller number one, we thank you. We have another caller, I think. Micah, I'm not sure. So you have to tell me if we have another caller who's ready to share a ritual with us. Caller two, are you there?
Yes, this is caller two, and your rituals sound so elaborate that I'm almost embarrassed to mention some of mine. But one of the things that I do like to do is I like to take. I was blessed in the house that I have to have a really big, nice jetted bathtub, and I love getting in the tub with some candles and some music, whatever I'm feeling at the time, whether it's 70s or 60s music to quiet show tunes or whatever. But I just like to listen to the music with candles and get in that tub and let the bubbles flow around me, and it's relaxing. I have to find ways to get away from the news and the craziness of the world and sadness in our lives. So it's just good to be able to sit in a tub and do that. I also tend to like to get in the water for water aerobics sometimes, and all I'm doing there is just forgetting everything else that's going on and just moving in that water as much as I can. And I think that's a way of getting rid of stuff.
And I just wanted to respond quickly. Thank you. That's perfect. So it
Yeah,
doesn't matter whether it's elaborate or simple, whatever does it for you. And I like all of the rituals that we're talking about today. So yours in the tub with good music is
I also
wonderful.
my son is also with me. He also has rituals that are probably more akin to some of the ones that you all have.
Please,
Let him speak.
can he come?
Yeah.
Can he? Don't tell
Yes,
me who you are, but join us. Hi.
yes, I'm grateful just to be able to listen to the various rituals. As for me, I kind of very similar to you. I like to get up in the morning and what I kind of consider my tune out to tune in time.
Mhm.
Tune out from the noise of the world and tune in to hear what God is saying. And so I like to get into a rhythm of being able to come out and sit on the front porch, as Dr. Barbara Brown Taylor would say. It's become like a medicine cabinet for me, to just sit,
Mm.
to be still, and to listen, and usually have scripture next to me to read it, to listen to it, to move into a place of listening. And then also I like to take some time to get into embodiment work as well. So that can be yoga, or it may be taking some time just to walk. But all of that really is kind of anchored in listening, rather than talking or being caught up in the noise. And so I kind of find myself in this space of stillness and also movement as well, just to hear what's happening inside of me.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, from this group of anonymous people, we have learned about taking a bath with candles. We've learned about sitting on the porch, which is a medicine cabinet for life in a way, and listening to God. We've learned about music, simple things Becca's thing about cupping a cup of tea. Rituals are important, to have your own private ritual, especially now because everything's coming at us. Do we have another caller, Micah? I don't remember. Do we have another caller? Is this it for our?
Yes, we have another caller, and we also have Becca back.
Oh, great. So we're real good. Let's
I
go
was
to
there. Micah just didn't see me. I was backstage hiding. But I wanted to say
sorry.
one thing before we go to the last caller, real quick,
Please.
Liz, is that
Please.
when your first caller was talking about the singing bowls, that I had never really experienced that at all. And we went to visit two different groups of women in Nepal, and they had singing bowls that you stood in. They were so big. The bowls were big enough for you to stand in. And then they would, hit the sides of these bowls, and it would reverberate up through your body. And you just felt like the waves of the world going through you. So she's reminding me that I need to get back to that. That was so good.
Wow. Yeah. I had never heard, I've heard about them, but I didn't know how to use them. So that's a great idea, but I've never heard about bowls that big that you step in them.
I had never heard of it either.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love all of these rituals. I hope that you who are listening to us are making notes, mental notes, because you can do any of this stuff. Thanks, Becca. We have one more caller, I think, on.
Well,
Micah.
we actually, Reverend Lewis, we have two more callers, so we can
get out of here.
Yeah, we have two more callers, and then also
Hi,
callers.
friends. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. And also, if you are in our call backstage, just a reminder to shut off your camera. There's a little camera button that should be to the right of your screen. And I will leave this to caller number 3. Thank you.
Caller number 3, what's your ritual? And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank y'all for having me. This is a beautiful segment, and being with two powerhouse women like yourselves, it is an honor to be with y'all. Thank you for having me. My honor, I am a survivor and in recovery, and I was in recovery for many years, and I really didn't take the time to practice rituals that were healing for my journey. And sadly, I had a relapse, and one of the things that has been so beneficial and so important to my new journey in recovery is I start every single morning with a virtual Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And I get ready in the morning. I take kids to school. I just start every morning with them. I participate, and it's a wonderful group of folks. I listen, on the way to work. It's from 7:30 to 8:30. And then by the time I'm done with that, it's like I've kind of put on my armor for the day.
Right.
And it gets me grounded and in a place where I can just really kind of take on the day with a wonderful perspective. And then every day when I get off work on my way home, I call my sponsor and have a wonderful conversation with her. And those are just two things that I've incorporated into my daily rituals that are so helpful in just allowing myself to put my recovery first, because I know if my recovery is not first, nothing else matters. And it's just been really awesome just to have that ritual in my life to, improve my quality of life. It's been great.
So nice, so wonderful, so healing just to hear you talk about that. So thank you for sharing that with us. Caller number 3, because that's a good one. And to be able to be on a virtual, we have Can We Talk, which is our program for healing trauma. And we talk to each other. I have prayer partners in the morning, so I hadn't even thought about that as a ritual. But that too is really important, to be able to kind of join something that lifts you up, or somebody who lifts you up, especially in times like these. I think we have one more caller who's going to share a ritual. We may have more than one, and that's fine. Caller number 4, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I sure can. What's your ritual? And thanks for joining us.
One of the things that was so important by hearing from the lady earlier and that was talking about loving themselves. I think that is so important. And then the lady who just finished about recovery, because I feel that we're all in recovery. We're recovering from something. And this, and if you don't love yourself, how are you gonna love anybody else? And one of the rituals for me is definitely walking, and walking not just to lose weight or anything, walking to release whatever anxiety or frustration is happening. And walking by water is so important. For me, I know that going to the beach, I used to walk the beach and record the waves coming in
Nice.
so I could listen to them later on. But the thing is to move through whatever is affecting me, whether it's anxiety or frustration or sadness, especially with everything that's going on now. You know, why am I there? And not to sit in the quicksand. So walking allows me to move through the quicksand and not sink. It allows me to let go and to release now, and to feel better about, and it's on a continuous basis. It doesn't take away everything, but it is an important part of letting go and releasing. It's like emptying your garbage every day on a
Wow.
regular basis so that it doesn't stink. And it's a part of healing. It's not a complete healing, but how are you going to heal if you don't continue to understand to swim through the quicksand and not let it sink you?
Beautiful, beautiful. What healers we have. Thank you all. I love the idea of walking as a ritual. It's a spiritual movement. So thank you, caller number 4. Thank all of you who joined us today with your rituals. This is what we want to do. We want to put healing out in the world with this little streaming. Becca, what do you think of all these wonderful rituals these women share today? And men.
I love the idea of a ritual being like taking out the trash so you don't stink. That is amazing comment. And that you have to incorporate rituals that you're actually going to do. And I love the third caller saying she does it as she's driving and getting ready to take the kids to school, as she's driving home. Like, you have to make it work. I would love for my ritual to be walking on the beach, but I live in Tennessee, so I need to walk in the woods.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, we have to. I love that everybody's sharing a hope and an intention for their rituals. They just look a little different.
Right, but we're all trying. So I'm gonna let you have the last word, Becca, because again, just so thrilled to have you on. What gives you in this time of uncertainty and just chaos? What gives you hope? What gives you the greatest hope right now?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about this. So this isn't really just off the cuff, just so you know, because I just did a retreat this weekend. And I was like, I think my role is I am a light bearer. Like, our role is light bearing. Like, we really do make candles to put out in the world. We are really light bearers. Again, not just metaphorically, but
No.
practically. And so what I have to remember is that for me, I can bear the light when I remember what comes through the streams on my phone is not necessarily the only news. The fact that what we do might not seem sensational at Thistle Farms, but it is extraordinarily good news. And if I can continue to bear that light in the world, I can continue to put good news out there. And it's real news. I mean, it's real news to have 600 women in safe beds around the U.S. It's real news that, 2,000 women have um, living wages across the world who are working as artisans to take their place as healers in their community. It's real. And I just have to remember, if I can bear that light and put that out there, that helps me stay hopeful. And the other thing is, I think we give each other hope. We don't have to just conjure it. Sometimes there's a woman that I get to work with in Ukraine who she is the head of the Ukrainian knitters who are refugees. It's called Love Rises. They're incredible. She's incredible. And she says sometimes when she wants to give up and has no hope, she remembers all the people who are hoping for them. And sometimes she says it's so dark, she doesn't even feel like going down to the bunker anymore. She just wants to stay in her bed. So for me, if I can remember that other people are hoping for me, it gives me hope. And then I want to hope for other people.
Words to really kind of let absorb into our spirits. Thank you so much for those hopeful words, Becca Stevens. Thanks for being on this show. Thanks for being my friend.
Thank you. I admire you and love you. And I'm so glad that the Champions of Love introduced us to each other and we get to do this great work together. It's a huge gift.
It is a gift, and we just want to pass it on and pay it forward. And so we just want to leave you with hope and plant hope where you are and pass it on. Becca Stevens, again, thank you. Have a great day and God's blessings on you, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Now remember, in 2026, we're going to continue our healing conversations on From the Heart at noon, twice a month. We'll keep you posted on when that begins, but we want you with us because together we can all heal. Thanks for joining us, everybody.